In 1998, a woman in Akron, Ohio, bought a washing machine with a mechanical timer, a steel transmission, and a knob you turned with your hand. No screen, no Wi-Fi, no server. 27 years later, that machine is still running. Now, compare that to the Samsung smart washer you bought in 2021, the one with the app, the one that sends you a notification when the cycle finishes. That machine is already 3 years into a support window that ends in 5. When the server goes dark, the app stops working. And when the app stops working, depending on your model, so does the machine. You did not buy a washing machine. You bought a subscription to a washing machine. And nobody told you when it expires. We have spent weeks going through court filings, engineering documentation, consumer complaints, and manufacturer terms of service. What we found is not a technical glitch. It is a business model, and it is running inside every smart appliance in your house right now. Here is how it works. Starting around 2015, the major appliance manufacturers began building a new kind of dependency into their products. Not a mechanical dependency, a digital one. They added Wi-Fi modules. They added cloud authentication servers. They added firmware chips that require a periodic connection to a manufacturer-controlled server just to confirm the machine is authorized to run its full feature set. Samsung calls this smart things. LG calls it ThinQ. GE calls it Smart HQ. They call it connectivity. We call it a lease agreement buried inside a refrigerator. The economics behind this decision are not complicated. Adding a Wi-Fi module and routing features through a cloud server saves the manufacturer somewhere between $5 and $15 per unit in simplified board design. That is a 20 to 30% reduction in control board cost. Multiply that across millions of units and the savings are substantial. But that is only the beginning of the financial logic. The real revenue is in the data. Every time your smart refrigerator notes that you open the door at 2 in the morning, every time your washer logs a cycle, every time your oven preheats remotely, that usage telemetry is collected, aggregated, and sold. Whirlpool's SEC filings reference connected appliance ecosystem revenue as a growth driver. They are not selling you a refrigerator anymore. They are selling a data collection device that also happens to keep your milk cold. And then there is the replacement cycle. A mechanical appliance from the 1990s was expected to last 15 to 25 years. One machine per household per generation. That is a terrible business model if you are trying to grow revenue. A cloud-dependent appliance with a 3 to 7 year server support window is a much better business model. It guarantees that the customer comes back, not because the machine wore out, because the server went dark. Now, let us talk about what actually happens when that server goes dark, because this is not a hypothetical. We have documented examples. In 2022, the Insteon smart home platform shut down its servers with essentially no warning to customers. Users first noticed the outage in mid-April, and the company said nothing for days. One day the hubs worked, the next day they did not. Thousands of users were left with hardware that could power on but could not execute commands, could not connect to other devices, and in many cases could not be controlled at all. Some functionality was partially restored months later, when an independent group temporarily revived portions of the service. Most of it was permanently gone. Nest, Revolve, same story. Nest acquired the Revolve smart home platform and then discontinued it. Every Revolve hub in every home became a non-functional brick, not because the physical hardware failed, because the server that gave it permission to work was turned off. Owners were given a few months' notice, but no refund and no path forward. The hardware was simply killed remotely. Samsung Family Hub refrigerators. The models sold between 2018 and 2020. By 2023 and 2024, the original Family Hub app had been discontinued for those units, with Samsung directing users to migrate to a different platform. The touchscreen on the door still lights up, the refrigerator still cools, but the dedicated app control, the recipe suggestions, the inventory management, the door open alerts built around the original software, much of it is gone or degraded. Lawsuits have been filed against Samsung related to its connected appliance marketing practices, and the company has continued selling the same class of product. LG ThinQ has faced legal challenges in multiple jurisdictions related to appliance performance and marketing claims. Those cases are ongoing, across the country. More than 200 state lemon law filings have been submitted between 2020 and 2025 for smart appliances that consumers describe as unusable. There are more than 10,000 server-related complaints on appliance repair forums over that same period. The Consumer Product Safety Commission has issued more than 15 recalls for smart appliances since 2015, most of them for electrical faults in Wi-Fi modules. This is not a series of isolated incidents. This is a pattern, and here is what makes the pattern particularly difficult to escape. The failure is invisible until it is complete. Your smart appliance does not corrode. It does not squeak. It does not show you a worn belt or a seized bearing. It just quietly degrades. The app starts showing a connection error. A feature stops working, then another. Then one morning, you open the app, and it tells you the device is no longer supported. There is no physical warning sign. The machine still powers on. But the functionality you paid for is gone, and there is no repair that can bring it back. That last point is the one that every technician we have spoken to comes back to. Because there is a repair trap built into this system that goes beyond ordinary parts pricing. With a mechanical appliance, when a component fails, you identify the component, you source the part, you replace it, and the machine runs. The repair equation is straightforward. A mechanical timer costs $20. A belt costs $12. A capacitor costs $8. Even an electronic control board on an older machine, bought through an aftermarket supplier, runs somewhere between $75 and $150. And once it is installed, the machine works. With a cloud-dependent smart appliance, the repair equation collapses entirely after server end of life. A control board replacement on a smart refrigerator costs between $300 and $600 before labor. But here is what the technician knows, and most homeowners do not. Swapping that board does not restore the cloud features. The new board still connects to the same dead server. The firmware chip on that board still requires authentication from infrastructure that no longer exists. You have spent $500 and the machine does what it did before you spent it. The repairman looks at you and says the same 5 words. It is not worth fixing, except in this case, it is not the mechanical failure that makes it not worth fixing. It is the business decision made in a corporate office that has already collected your data, already logged your purchase, and is already marketing the next model to you. Repairability scores from independent evaluators for current smart appliances tend to run very low. Speed Queen washers and commercial-grade appliances score significantly higher. The gap between those numbers is the gap between a machine you own and a machine you lease without a lease agreement. There is also a legal wall between you and any remedy. 90% of smart appliance warranties include binding arbitration clauses. You cannot join a class action. You cannot take the manufacturer to court in any meaningful way without extraordinary resources. The warranty itself covers manufacturing defects for 1 to 5 years. It does not cover cloud end of life. Server shutdown is not classified as a defect. It is classified as a business decision. And it is perfectly legal. Right to repair legislation has been advancing in some states, with laws covering farm equipment, automotive diagnostics, and in some cases, consumer electronics. Federal right to repair efforts are stalled as of 2025, and the current appliance exemptions mean that even where right to repair laws exist, manufacturers are not required to provide full parts access the way they are for other product categories. The regulatory framework has not caught up to the product. So, what do? You stop buying the touch screen, you start buying the motor. The Speed Queen TC5 top-load washer is one option worth considering. It is made in Ripon, Wisconsin by Alliance Laundry Systems. The TC5 features a mechanical timer, a traditional transmission with metal gears, and fills the tub completely. There is no cloud platform, no app, and no server dependency. The expected lifespan is 25 years or more, based on Alliance Laundry's own testing standard of approximately 10,400 cycles. Every feature on that machine can be diagnosed, sourced, and repaired by any competent technician with standard tools. Speed Queen also offers the TR7, a more feature-rich top-load model with electronic controls for those who want more options while still avoiding cloud dependency. Compare that to a Samsung smart washer at $2,000 with a 5-year server support window, Over 30 years, you will buy between 4 and 6 Samsung machines. You will buy one Speed Queen. The 10-year total cost of ownership on the smart washer runs between $4,500 and $5,000. On the mechanical equivalent, it runs between $1,500 and $2,000. The cheaper machine is the one with the dial. If you need a refrigerator without a server dependency, prioritize models with basic analog or simple electronic controls and no built-in Wi-Fi. Several smaller appliance brands offer full-size refrigerators without connectivity features. Look for units with no app requirement, no cloud authentication, and straightforward mechanical or basic electronic controls. Over 30 years in a Samsung family hub cycle, you may buy 4 to 6 units. With a durable analog alternative, you may buy 1 or 2. The math favors simplicity. If you currently own a mechanical appliance from the 90s or early 2000s that still runs, do not replace it. That machine was built before the cloud dependency model existed. Its components are superior to what you can buy, new at any price point. Maintain it. Find a technician who can service it. It is an asset. It will outlast the server that is running inside whatever you would replace it with. And if you are already locked into a smart appliance, read the end-of-life terms in your manufacturer's service agreement. Know the support window. Know what features disappear when the server goes down. Know what you actually own versus what you are renting from a cloud platform. That information is in the fine print. They put it there because they do not want you to find it before you swipe the card. Here is the verdict. They are selling you computers that wash your clothes, cool your food, and dry your dishes. Like every computer, they expect you to upgrade in 5 years. Unlike a computer, nobody calls it a subscription. Nobody hands you a cancellation notice. The server just goes quiet one day, and the machine that cost you $3,000 is suddenly worth $200 in scrap. Mechanical simplicity is not a limitation. It is a guarantee. A steel gear does not need a server. A mechanical timer does not need a firmware update. A machine with a dial and a tub and a motor is something you own. Everything else, you are borrowing. Buy the machine the repairman puts in his own house. Then keep it running until it cannot be run anymore. That is the only appliance strategy that has ever made sense, and it is the only one that still does.